Hi, my friends, and welcome back to Buffalo Sports Talk of Western New York. I'm Tom Hastings, my partner Tom Joyce, and we have a series, Tom.
Yeah, they came back. They did what, they've been doing all year. They show resiliency in the face of adversity. They came together. It wasn't a perfect game, but it was a good enough game to win, and it was a marked improvement over the previous two games.
I think I walked 5 miles yesterday. I never sat down in that third period. I was just pacing. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's what Stanley Cup playoffs is all about. We talked before about the intensity of the playoffs in hockey, unlike anything else in professional sports, in my opinion.
Well, I went live. I did our first live video yesterday just to test it out, 3 minutes. And before we talk about the game, I want to throw a quick question out to our viewers out there. What do you think about us doing maybe sometime a live table talk or say a live pregame show or two? If the Sabres keep going, if they manage to win, keep the series going. And we also will be covering the Buffalo Bills when that season starts. I'm really interested in doing a live pregame show for the Bills and for the Sabres if they continue to. So we're going to look into that and give us your take on that, folks, and let us know if that would be something you'd be interested in. I think that would be a cool thing for us to do. We're always looking to try to do something new on the channel, and that was just an idea I had. But enough of that. Let's get back into the game. Tommy, first of all, let's talk about Luukkonen. The kid had a really rough outing in Game 2 against the Bruins, and they replaced him. They took him out, and I was worried about what his mental state was going to be like. I thought that they were going to put him in Game 3. They waited until Game 4 to put him in. They really, a must-win game, so he had all that pressure on. And after the Canadians scored their second goal at the very end of the first period, he shut them down the rest of the game. He looked calm, he looked cool, he looked confident, and I'm just so proud of the kid.
Yeah, 28 saves. That speaks of itself. And the Sabres did not make it easy on him with their parade to the penalty box.
We're going to have to talk about that too.
Relentless penalty kills that he was forced to make, and 4 minutes, and he came up big every time. As you said, he seemed to be in control of the net and the area around it at all times. He was able to stop the movement of the puck. So many times, and it looked like it might be getting away from him or getting away from the team in terms of the defense being able to clear it, and he was able to take command of it. He played really, really well, and I think there's no question about who gets to start tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think they have to start him, and also you have to give the entire defense. How many blocks did we have? They blocked so many shots last night as well, especially in that third period. They just did what I've been saying they had to do. They put that foot on the throat after they got the third goal, and they did not allow the Canadians to do anything. They were taking the puck away. It was just fantastic. And it was almost a tale of two games, because I think, the Sabres go up 1-0 early, and again, they get that important first goal, and they should have gone up 2-0. And I want to get your take on this, Tom. Now, Toronto, if anyone who didn't see the game, I'm sure everyone who's watched the game, but what they initially thought was a save, the puck crosses the red line in the glove of the Canadian goaltender, and Toronto calls down and says, review it, it's a goal.
Yeah.
So the referees review it, and they call it a goal, and immediately the Canadians challenge and say it's goalie interference. I don't know about that.
Yeah, 9-minute delay in the game at that point.
9-minute delay when we had all the momentum.
And it was clearly a goal. The puck was clearly in the glove going over the red line. The goalie interference issue, I didn't see it. I think if there was any goalie interference, it was instigated by
the
Canadian defenseman pushing our player into it. It was one of those calls where, if you look at a play like that and the goal has already been challenged and the goal's been cleared as a good goal, to go back and reverse that in the playoffs, I thought was...
I've never seen anything like it.
Was really reaching, and it just seemed throughout the night that the Sabres were really up against, not only the Canadians, but unfortunately the refs. Sabre did take some bad penalties, no question about that.
And we have to talk about that too.
But there were also some times there's some real head scratchers. I think that was one of them.
That was crazy. And my take simply is this: is if it was goalie interference, I don't think Toronto calls and says, review the goal. Yeah. I think they have to see the whole thing in Toronto. And if they felt that it was, a goal, I don't think they saw goalie interference.
Right.
So I don't think that they would have called down to review it if they thought that there was goalie interference. So I just thought the entire game. And can we just talk about the announcers for ESPN? Yeah. I have never heard, they might as well have just put the Canadians crest on their jacket. Yeah. I mean, you could just plainly see, my wife hardly watches hockey at all.
Yeah.
And we're watching the game together, and you can plainly see the puck in the back of the goaltender's glove, and that his glove is behind the red line. And they're going, well, there really is no evidence. It was. I've never seen such horrible announcing in my life. I mean, it was so bad. And this is supposed to be. I could understand if we were listening to a Montreal broadcast. That would be like Rob Ray or something, talking. And of course, he's going to favor the Sabres. But this is supposed to be a national broadcast. Yeah. And I just thought it was pitiful.
I think that what we saw was the Canadian mystique, the Canadian legend, whatever you want to call it, creeping into the announcing booth. There's no question about that. It's they're the team, they're the standard, whatever you want to call the NHL for a long time. The fan base is what it is, and I think that they really showed their bias in. I think there's no question that the league wants to see the Canadians go farther in the playoffs.
That's my only worry.
And we saw that last night. Definitely in the announcer booth, at times I think in the calls too. This goes back. I remember being kids years ago. You probably remember too. There was complaints about ref bias in Montreal that go back decades. We're talking. We've been hearing about this since before our time. You go back to 50s and 60s. Players in cities like Toronto, Detroit, New York, complaining about the calls up in Canada, always going for the Canadians. So this is nothing new. It's been going on for decades in the NHL, and I think we saw it again last night.
Well, is it any coincidence that every ref in that game was a Canadian?
Except for the one who was from France.
Oh, well, there you go. And I wonder who he would be rooting for. Well, anyway, guys, you don't want to just hang it all on the refs. No, you don't want to, you can't do that. The bottom line is, after that goal was called off, the Sabres lost their composure, and too many penalties, way too many penalties, and some of them, I would say the Thompson penalty near the end of the first period. Yes, he did shove him in the back, and in the regular season, I see them calling that all the time. In the playoffs, I've seen a hell of a lot worse not called. So I thought that was a little ticky-tack, but at the same time, Thompson's our leader, and he's got to know better in that situation, and he put the team in a really bad spot, and something that he's done a lot in this series. And sure enough, the waning seconds of the first period, the Canadians take the lead, and you just saw... after that goal was called off, you just saw bad passing. Dahlin took some really bad penalties as well. And as bad as some of the penalties were, also I got to say the Canadians, I haven't seen so much diving going on since the Summer Olympics. I mean, we might as well have been watching a FIFA match. There was so much diving going on in that game. They were just looking for any call whatsoever, which I guess... can you blame them? Because the refs were really looking to call penalties on the Sabres, it seemed.
Yeah.
But, Tom, how do you feel at that first period? Lindy had to have said something, really inspiring after that first break, because it was a different Sabres team that came out the rest of the game.
They played so much better than they had the second and third game. Their composure was so much better. They were able to, get possession of the puck for long periods of time, which we didn't see at all in the second and third games. I still worry about the time that they're giving up in their own zone.
Yeah.
The majority of the play last night, as it had been for the last couple of games, was seen to be in the Sabres zone, and they're just having a really hard time clearing the puck out of their zone a lot of times, taking it up the ice with possession, and they've got to find a way to get the ice tilted, so to speak, and get more of the play down the other end of the rink, because as it is, it's just too much pressure on Luukkonen and the defense. You mentioned all the blocks. Timmins must be sore today.
Yeah.
I hate to be that guy, because he was blocking everything.
He was a monster.
And but they shouldn't have to do that. And you rectify that by getting puck possession out of your zone and into the other end of the ice. But they haven't been able to do that consistently. And I think that Lindy's really going to harp on that, finding ways to get control of the puck in their zone and move it out.
Yeah, I think they need to do that tomorrow night, because now with winning this game, now it comes down to, we don't have to win in Montreal. We just have to win 2 more times at home. We have to win. I think tomorrow again is a must win. We have the home ice. We have to win that game. Send it back to Montreal with us up 3-2, and then I picked them in 7.
Yep.
So, if we lose in Montreal, then, we just got to come home and win Game 7. But the thing that was important is they showed that they can win in Montreal. And I think that was mentally for, a lot of people, we don't talk enough, that they're a skilled team, they're a fast team, but there's a lot of mental stuff going on in sports. And I think that in Game 3, the Sabres were just overwhelmed by that crowd. By the moment, it just seemed to get away from them, and it seemed the moment was too big for them. And they proved last night that the moment isn't too big for them. They proved that they can win. In that third period, I thought they controlled the puck a lot better in that third period, especially after Benson scored the game-winning goal.
Right.
And talk about that. It's on the kid's 21st birthday, and he gets the game-winning goal. Benson's been great this whole playoff.
Yeah, his ability to get that puck off his skate onto his stick, bring it down from his stick to control it, and then backhand it in. I mean, we look at that in slow motion. He did all that in a split second. There was some fantastic composure on his part. Great stick control, puck control on his birthday. What a great player he's turned out to be for the Sabres in these playoffs. He's really putting on a show. Him and Doan are really turning it on, and they need them, because one of their big guns has decided to assume the role of the Invisible Man this series.
Yeah, well, I will say about Tuck, I noticed him more yesterday. He still, I don't think he had a shot on net. Every time that he attempted, it seemed like it was going wide. I noticed him a little bit more, but he has to give more.
No goals, no assists, no points in 4 games. That's unacceptable, especially for a guy who's looking for a big paycheck at the end of the season. Now, his stock had really risen with his performance in the Bruins series.
Yes.
But so far in this series, he has just not been a factor at all. And it's difficult to understand. We don't, we're not inside the locker room, inside his head, what's going on with him. But for a guy who's expecting, a big bump in pay, this is not the way to get it. In the biggest game of the year last night, and he was just, again, a non-factor, which he had been the entire series.
Right. Now, this is when, if you want the big bucks, this is when you make your money. And he's got to do better. Still, hopefully 3 games to be played, at least 2 more that have to be played. So hopefully that turns around in the next couple games, and it can happen because the Sabres turned it all around completely from Game 3 to Game 4. Right. So it can happen with Tuck, And I have to say, for Thompson, been a little tough on him with taking the penalties and the giveaways that he's had. He scored a goal. He scored the second goal. It was a little bit of a lucky bounce, but that happens in hockey. I'm not going to call it lucky. He did it, and it happened. And he scored a goal, and he had an assist on the Benson goal.
Yeah.
So Tage has shown up.
Yep.
I will give him that. And Tom, you talked to me for a couple minutes about, we talked about Luukkonen coming in. Talk a little bit about the call-ups, the changes Lindy made last night, and in particular the young rookie.
Hellenis, played fantastic. He was so poised, for a rookie put in that position. Didn't have a lot of ice time, but he made good use of all the ice time he had. He had two nice breaks. He had that pass over from the right hand side of the ice both times. A great save by Dobas on the one, and then he rang it off the post on the other. Could have easily had 2 goals last night. So Lindy's really got to be happy with his progression, his ability last night to step up. And if you looked at him, he seemed completely at ease.
He did.
He did not seem nervous, and he composed himself in a way that I think that he's going to be a factor going forward.
Great call up by Lindy. Great job coaching. As I said, he did something to calm that team down in the second and third period. They take another really bad penalty at the end of the second period, and it's a 4-minute major, and the penalty kills it off, man. And that was a huge moment. I was talking back and forth with my son, and he was saying there's no way that we can survive this. They're going to score. It's just inevitable. And our our penalty kill did the job. And I'm very proud of that too. Again, somehow we were able to dig and get that composure back, and this has got to show. This has got to show that team that we can do it. They're better than they were those last 2 games in Game 2 and 3. They're a better team, and hopefully this gives them that confidence now. People were saying after Game 1, especially Montreal fans, were saying, "Oh, Montreal just went through this 7-game series, and it was a little bit of fatigue, and that's the only reason the Sabres won the game." Well, there was no fatigue in this one. They had their crowd. They had the noise. They had the refs. They had the announcers. They had everyone having their back, and they lost.
Yeah.
And this has got to give us a huge boost in confidence coming home. So, Tom, what are your feelings about tomorrow's game?
I like the Sabres' chances. I think that the crowd is going to be rabid.
Wait, please, Sabres fans who have tickets, don't sell them. Go to the damn game. Go to the game. Everybody dress in blue and be as loud as you can. Please, go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, I think that ship has sailed. The tickets are already, too many tickets from the hands of Canadian fans. And again, we talk about this. If you're living, let's be thankful it's Canadians, because if it was the Maple Leafs, it would be even worse.
Yeah. And if it was the Blue Jays, they'd be really confused. They're like, where's the ball?
So, but this is just, we said this is just part of the geography of where we are, and this is what we have to deal with. But I'm sure that the crowd will be very vocal in support of the Sabres. They've got their win last night. They've got their confidence back. Again, with the call-ups, with the ability of Lindy to really make the most out of his roster. I think that he's really good at mixing the lines and the players to put out for whatever the situation calls the best players. That's why he's one of the winningest coaches in NHL history. So I think, given all that, the Sabres have a really solid chance of winning tomorrow night.
I think, as I said about Game 4, I think tomorrow is a must-win. The Sabres have to prove that they can win at home. They have not been great at home in this playoffs. Yeah. And now they got the monkey off their back by winning in Montreal. Now they got to continue and get another win at home. They were embarrassed by this team in Game 2, and they've got to get that back. They have to revenge that. They have the series is in their hands now with that win yesterday. And too many people, I think, are talking about, the Sabres have never come back when down 2-1. It means nothing.
Right.
History, people put too much stock in that.
Yeah.
This is a different team. This is a different year. None of that stuff that happened in the past matters.
Right.
What they have to concentrate now is getting that home ice advantage, make it mean something. Win this game. I think tomorrow is a must-win. They have to go back to Montreal leading 3-2. I think if they lose tomorrow, then the odds of them winning again in Montreal are going to be very bad. It's going to be really tough for them to go into Montreal and win again and keep the series going. So tomorrow, in my mind, is a must-win.
Yeah, I think that they know that, and Lindy's going to communicate all this to them. But again, they have confidence. And if you listen to the post-game conference with Tage Thompson after after last night, and he was very clear. He said our confidence never wavered. He said what people think outside of this room is irrelevant.
Right.
What all that matters is what we feel. And going into the game last night, he said, in spite of what had happened, we know we're capable of. Our confidence didn't waver, and I think that's true. We've seen all year they're a really confident team, and when they go down, I think that their attitude is, let's get it done, shift by shift, get to where we want to be. And I think that that's what they were able to do last night. And I think that going in tomorrow night, they have confidence that they can win. And I do look for them to pull out the victory tomorrow night. It's not going to be easy.
No,
this series has not been
Nothing's
easy.
going to be easy.
But again, Lindy, I think, is going to get that mindset going among them that we have to clean up what we're doing poorly, emphasize what we're doing well, and bring home the victory.
Yeah, well, nothing's easy. There's nobody that wins the Stanley Cup that just breezes through it.
Right.
So from this day forward, everything is going to be tough. But I think if the Sabres play their best, if they play their game, I think they can do it. And that's not me being a homer. That's just me watching this team all year round and seeing the type of team that they are. They play their game. They have every bit of a chance to go as far as they can.
Right.
And so that's going to be it as far as our coverage for the Sabres. Before we take off in this episode of Table Talk, I want to just mention tomorrow the Buffalo Bills regular season schedule comes out. We do know that the home opener will be week 2 against the Detroit Lions. So they're going to open the new stadium against the Lions, Tom. And
on a Thursday night.
On a Thursday night. And I'm not sure how I feel about the Thursday night thing. And at first, I thought that they would open the stadium against the Patriots or the Dolphins or the Jets, a team in our division. But thinking about it last night, Ralph Wilson was from Detroit, so maybe this is the 2026 Bills paying tribute to their past owner and their past by playing Detroit. Wilson was a Detroit man. So it's going to be a hell of a game. Any way you look at it, that's going to be a great game.
Detroit has built a really good, solid team there the last few years, and they're a perennial contender, so it should be a really good game.
I'm excited about being there. I have season tickets, and we will, when we cover the Buffalo Bills this season, I will have exclusive video from the stadium. And again, I mentioned at the top of this video that we're considering doing some more live broadcasts. I gave it a quick test last night just to see if I knew what I was doing. Again, we're old, so this technology is tough on us. And so I gave it a shot. I only did a quick little 3-minute video, and it worked. So I'm really interested in going into a couple establishments maybe and filming live some pregame shows for the Bills and maybe even for the Sabres. Maybe just seeing if we can get anyone to let us go into their place. We'll see how that goes. So, guys, give us a comment down below. As always, give us a like and a subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a video. But let us know if that would be something you'd be interested in us doing some live videos. Maybe a live table talk sometime, too. I think that would be cool. So, a lot of exciting things going on here at Buffalo Sports Talk, Western New York. The Sabres win big yesterday. It was so huge, Tom. I think, as I said, my legs hurt so much today because I walked 5 miles in my living room. I could not sit down.
But you love it.
I love it.
We love it.
I love it so much. Yes. I hope you guys are loving it all, too. I hope the stress level is down a little bit. Relax today. Take it easy today. Take a deep breath. Enjoy this victory. And get ready to suffer another tough night again tomorrow because it's going to be another anxious evening in Buffalo, New York. All right, Tom? That's going to do it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. We will see you Friday. Are you good for Friday morning?
Absolutely.
All right. We will be back Friday to film our recap of Game 5, hopefully talking about the Sabres going up 3-2. Any final thoughts, Tom?
Victory Friday. Looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it, guys. Have a good rest of your day. Thanks for watching, and we will see you. Until then,
go Sabres.
Thank you, boys. Thank you for making this old man happy. Go Sabres.